chapter 3, verse 4? Verse 3? It's 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3. Watch what the book say.
Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming?
Right? This is scoffing. This is mocking. It's like, man, we've been doing the thing. Where's the promise? You keep telling me about darn Jesus. What that brother? Yeah, what a brother polite. What? The cool thing is he's a wise dude. He be saying some stuff that's wise and on point. Yeah. But one of his hangups is, man, I could never believe in no Jesus. My grandma believed in Jesus. Guess where she at?
Yeah.
Her grandma believed in Jesus. Guess where she at?
Yeah.
He said, that don't make sense to me. They spent their whole life crying out for Jesus, and they got diseases and all types of stuff. You know what he asked him? Where's the promise of his coming? Look at the book.
And saying, where's the promise of his coming?
For
since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation.
Ain't that what they said?
Exactly.
That's what the scientists are saying. Scientists are saying, okay, so these things have been this way forever. We don't need God. I can explain it. This is how things work. It goes from this to this. Everybody else looking like, you know what I'm saying, ain't nothing changed. They ain't been the same. When he said the fathers fell asleep, that means our ancestors.
They did.
Right? Our ancestors died. Ain't nothing changed. We gonna die. So where's the promise of his coming? Like what's this spectacular coming that we've been waiting for? Let's see, keep going. These are logical questions, right? Watch this.
For this they willingly are ignorant of. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and the earth which are now by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men.
So what is he saying? He's saying by people scoffing that way and basically asking them questions, what they're doing is they're being willingly ignorant of like how we got here, right? And it's nuts, right? Because you have to. The scientists would tell us that we got here, you know, some different theories, but one of the major theories that people like now is the Big Bang, right? So there was absolutely nothing, and all of a sudden something happened, right? They can't explain exactly how that something happened. They go through these, what they call it, the quantum theories to try to explain how something became, nothing became something.
I've never seen an explosion create anything.
Well, no, you can't. Well, not just never seen an explosion creation. I've never seen the explosion come from nothing, right? I just never seen nothing just sit there and explode. It just hasn't happened yet. So we look at it and we say, okay, great. So now, but to come to that type of logic, right? These are wise, intelligent people. You've made yourself willingly. That's what the book says. They willingly ignorant. Is that what it says? Read it for me one more time.
For this they willingly are ignorant of.
So that means you willingly ignored something. Like you willingly said, no, I've never seen that happen before. I've never observed. What's science? Science is supposed to be observation, right? You observe something, like you test it. You know what I'm saying? What's that? You reproduce it. That's the whole thing, right? I've never observed, I've never tested, I've never experimented in any way that created a situation that I can say is remotely close to that. However, willingly, I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to say this is my theory. Right? That's how deep this stuff is. And that feels small if you don't care nothing about God. Right? If you don't care nothing about God, it's a small thing. It ain't no big deal. But when you know and you see it how God looking at it, he's looking like, that's a big old thing you just ignored. So now that one thing to you that's little changes the entire trajectory of everything for you. It's certain things you'll never be able to see. So he's looking at him, he's telling them, oh, these people take this position because they're willingly ignorant of certain things. Right? So now it goes down this path. Whereas if you took the logical approach, how in the world could something come from nothing? It must have always been something. Okay, since there was always something, what was that something? And how would that something create this? What theory, what information, what evidence do we have in the world today to say that? Right? If I walked, we always talk about that. If I went down to Antarctica, where they told me nobody has ever been here, nobody can survive here, nobody's ever been there, and I just seen a fire, right? A fire just, out of the snow with some wood, it was put together and the fire just blazing. Am I going to think, ooh, the snow just came together and evolved into this fire? Like, no, you're going to look at it and be like, oh, they lied, somebody over here. So it's like this basic logic. Like if you look at, hold on, we evolved. But by chance, this is what you tell me, by chance, both of my eyeballs happen to develop at the exact same rate, in the same way, so that their interaction, they flip, right? Everything I see is upside down, it flip, hold it upside down, present it to my brain, then it comes back. All that happened at the same time. So hold on. There was no mistakes, right? I mean, if you do something randomly, like, don't you think I have like a finger just growing out of my arm right here? Like, because some stuff, the whole theory of evolution is like, okay, the bad evolutions, they got killed off, right? Which makes sense when, you know what I'm saying, if you don't really think about it too hard, it's like, it makes sense. Yeah, it's like, okay, if I evolve with 3 legs and a dude with 2 legs run faster than me, I'm not going to get away from the tiger. I get that. That makes sense to me. So it's like anybody with 3 legs going to get killed off, which is going to leave you with 2 people with 2 legs who going to reproduce more people with 2 legs. So eventually you do that, your genes perfect each other, and then you get us. Okay. But surely there was some mistakes in evolution that had no effect. You know what I'm saying? Like surely like some people just had like, you know what I'm saying, like an ear coming out their chin. They ain't gonna bother nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like they ain't gonna stop nobody from doing that. So why we don't see like a whole bunch of people with ears and that? I want to see people that had these obvious defects or mistakes, right? Or just stuff that just wasn't really proven, like it didn't have any value. It was just an evolution, like something just happened, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but it didn't hurt them either. You know what I'm saying? It's just stuff that happened. That's how random work. But you don't see none of that. You know what I'm saying? They show us the picture with the monkey, take it through 2 steps, he turned into a bigger monkey, then a bigger monkey, then all of a sudden he a man in like 7 steps. Right? So it's like, okay, if he can turn into a man in 7 steps, where are all the monkeys in between? Where, you know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't none of them made it? I can only get the first monkey and I can get the white man? That's nuts. You know the real story behind that, right? Yeah. They try to say that they try to say the Hebrews, they try to say the black people and the Africans, they try to say that we was the middle monkeys. Hebrews lost their darn mind. All this stuff, you know, we don't even know the root of the racism that is, you know what I'm saying, that so much of this stuff that comes from. Like these theories just come from, how can because I just can't, there's no way, right? We talk about the history a lot. Black people ran parts of Europe. And that was a problem. Like that wasn't, and it wasn't like racism back then like it is. That's where racism started, right? Because they ran, it was a war, and it was easily identifiable because your skin looks like that and my skin looks like this. They had been warring with each other a lot, and we had been warring with each other a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like all the stuff we read in the Bible, that's black on black. All this stuff that we read in there, it wasn't until the Romans came, the Greeks and the Romans came into the picture that you start.
Romans got it popping for white people.
Yeah,
that they wouldn't. Nothing.
Yeah, it was all black on black before that. And the Greeks and Romans, before they got to us, they were fighting a bunch of people with fair skin. So you see all these things happening in pockets, but then you get to the point where the Greeks and the Romans took over, or the Romans really, they took over, and they took it over. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, they had it all. But then all of a sudden, the Moors came in, right? Because the Muslims, after Muhammad came into the picture about 500 AD, a little after, you know what I'm saying? They not colonized, but they converted most of Africa. So you had a lot of black Muslims. And the Moors, they were called the Moors. So the Moors, if you look on the map, I wish I still had my map up, but if you look on the map, like Spain and Morocco, I believe it is like right, like you can, I was looking at a picture that somebody took, and like you could see it, you know what I'm saying, right across the water. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't gonna say you could swim there, but people could swim there. You know what I'm saying? Especially back in that day when, you know, people were more physical because you didn't have as much technology. So it's like, okay, I hop on a boat, I go right across this water, we there. So that's what happened. You had people come across the water, come into Spain, we good. Ain't nobody racist like, hey, you black, this, that, another. That didn't happen back then. But after a while, just like any two cultures that mix, somebody gonna try to dominate. So the Moors, for a while, dominated, took over Spain, took over Portugal, took over all those southern European states. They took over a lot of them. It's Italy. There's a few other places. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of them all right now. I wish I had a map. But they took over a lot of those southern European states. And then they became kings. So they sitting on these people's thrones. They changing these people's history. And it's disrespectful. It's like, man, we've been here for 700 years at this point. And you just come in and you going to change my history? You going to take my pictures down? You going to make this like this is a Moor? Like, we ain't Moors. So then they regain control. And what they do? That's where the Spanish Inquisitions came in.
And they kicked out all black people.
You know how they show us? They say the Inquisitions was about what?
Revolution.
Yeah.
Revolution, but it was about Christians versus who?
Muslim.
Oh yeah.
Why was Christians against Muslims? Because they just didn't like their religion? Why don't they tell you about how well they got along before all that? No, they didn't like them because they took it over and they were black. They don't tell us that part. They make them Arab, right? In the movie, they make them Arabs, right? Because that's how we relate to Muslim today. But they weren't Arab. They were black and they took it over. And now once they did that, they tried to remove that part of the history.
You can look up how the Portuguese deported and expelled all Hebrews. This is what they did. All out of their land.
This is where the color racism started. Because just imagine it from the white people point of view, right? We good with everybody. We don't look at no skin color. We don't care nothing about that, right? We see black people, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But y'all just took over my stuff now. And then y'all took down all my pictures of my king and put up pictures of you, right? And y'all not from here, and we've been here for forever, and y'all just came and took our stuff. So when I get in there and I kick your butt and kick you out of my country, now I'm nervous. Mm-hmm. Now it's different. So you were a black Moor, you are a black Jew, a black Hebrew, right? Okay, guess what? I'm not about to spend all this time trying to figure out who's who. I mean, we got the quotes. You look at them and they literally confused us. Yeah. And they say, you know what? Everybody out. The Inquisitions attacked the Hebrews, the black Hebrews, and it attacked the Moors. They only gonna tell you about the Muslim part because, it's still not acceptable knowledge that Hebrews were black, right? But it attacked both of them. And then we went down. We went down into Africa because some of our people were already down into Africa. And we went with them. And then what did the Portuguese do after that?
They sent the children somewhere else, though.
To Sao Tome, right? St. Thomas is the island right off of the coast of West Africa. They sent kids to be slaves in Sao Tome. That's where slavery started, the type of slavery that we was in. That's where it started. It wasn't as bad at that point, but it started there. Portugal sent them to Sao Tome, right? And then the rest of us escaped. The Muslims, the black Muslims, and the Spanish and the Europeans going at it tough still, right? After a while, they stop and they say, this don't make a whole lot of sense. Why are we fighting? You a rich nation, I'm a rich nation, because quiet kept, both were rich nations, right? My fault, that hit your phone, my fault. Quiet as it kept, he said, you know what I'm saying, you a rich nation, I'm a rich nation. It don't make no sense if we keep fighting like this. Right? So perfect opportunity after Christopher Columbus and his boys. How did Christopher Columbus get to the New World?
He had a whole bunch of boys with him.
What kind of boys though?
The black boys.
Black boys from where?
From South Africa.
He had black boys, I think, from Morocco. They are Moors. Right? Yeah, the boy, he was mixed. You know what I'm saying? His mama was a Moor. He drove the boat. How in the world did that boy know how to drive all the way to America? I don't know. Maybe some of the Moors had already been there. Right? When you hear people talking about, hey, it was people already in America before. Well, they're talking about the Moors, right? Moors had already been there. They had the maps. They gave Christopher Columbus the map. He had a navigator who knew how to make that route. He went there. None of these people get talked about because they want to erase that part of the history. So they say, okay, get him there. Once that happened, they say, okay, we got an alliance now. Right? He was a slave, right? But we look at it, wait, so you got the ships to get to America? Or get, you know what I'm saying, to the other part of the world? Okay. I can show you some people. You said you found what over there? Sugar cane? Oh, I can show you some people that work it. I mean, some hard-working people. So that's where the Moors didn't like us, right? Europeans didn't like anybody that was black at that point because they were just nervous. Not just because they erased it. It was just a security thing. Like, we've been here. Y'all took it over. We not letting that happen again. Y'all not about to infiltrate like y'all did before and then start taking over. That's not happening. Same thing that's happening right now by you. Boy, you'll see it's a lot of people right now that's afraid of Arabs taking over Europe. All right, what the Brexit thing is all about. If y'all heard about the Brexit and all that, the Britons they want to split from all of Europe, from the rest of Europe, or not Europe, but the European Union. You know what I'm saying? So they basically want to split from that union. So you got the United States. It's kind of not exactly the same, but it's kind of like California. When California is like, we might think about seceding from the union, and basically saying that we are our own state, we are our own country, we have our own economy.
It's expensive enough.
Yeah. But it'll get way more expensive if they do that. But you look at it, and that's what Brexit is trying to do, because their main reason is because the European Union is saying immigrants can come from everywhere. So what do you have? Black immigrants and Arab immigrants from Syria and all these places that everybody is bombing. They're rushing into Europe. And so the concern now is that these people are going to take over. They're becoming politicians. Same concern here. You know, y'all been hearing about the people that Trump said to go back to where you came from. That's the same thing that they got. They like, our country is being taken over. We've seen it. They know this history. We've seen this before. We know where this came from. We know where this ends up. So they're trying to stop it, right? They're trying to keep this thing from happening, whatever. So the Moors, back in the day, they said, okay, I can show you some people. I know where they at. We don't like them either. We chase them out of our land. We push them further south in the West Africa, right? We in North Africa, they pushed it down into the southern part or the mid part on the west side, right? So we push them down. I know where they are. The Portuguese already has an island right there by it. It's called Sao Tome, where they had the kids. After that, they said, show me where they are. We'll provide the ships. We'll take them there. And y'all remember what they taught us in school, the triangle trade, where they was like, you know what I'm saying, like they make the sugar here and they drop the rum off here in Africa, and then you know what I'm saying, then they take all the money to Europe and all that stuff, and took some rum to Europe too. So that's what happened. They said, okay, you give us the alcohol, you know what I'm saying, and give us some of the sugar and the molasses and all that stuff, and we'll make it happen. We'll show you where these boys are. So when they tell us black people sold black people, technically true.
Not the
right?
same nation, though.
But not the same people. That's as good as saying the World War II and 1 was white on white violence. Well, yeah, technically true, but that doesn't anywhere near describe what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have different people, different nations. Sure, skin color is similar, but these are totally different people with totally different backgrounds. And one group sold the other group and pushed us off. Then they got the nerves to tell us Kunta Kinte was a Muslim. Like, no, never. No, like, never. Muslims would not have, and maybe one or two, but Muslims would not have been made to go over here unless they came from a Hebrew background. Yeah, you might have some Hebrews that converted to be Muslim, and they say, well, you still a Hebrew, get your butt out of here. That happened. But you're not going to have, like, no Muslim who's not Hebrew, who's African, of their nation, that they just sold them out and brought them.
No one's going to sell out their own nation.
Nobody's
like
selling
that.
out their own
That's
people.
crazy. Like, I was listening to Dr. Claude Anderson. He was talking about that. You know what I'm saying? He was like, Africans didn't know how wealthy they was, and they let the Europeans come and take over their stuff right under their nose. It was like, no. You know what I'm saying? These Africans didn't sell their own people. You know what I'm saying? It was like, they sold their own, he think they sold their own people. But
What are you talking about? These Africans got rich off of the slave
yeah,
trade.
they did.
They got rich off of the slave trade. But the Europeans, remember, the Europeans were you ever like,
An African to tell you, like, we would never know slaves.
you ever like been through something? You know what I'm saying? You ever been through something like that's traumatic for you, and you have to kind of face it, you have to kind of go through a similar situation again, and your mind is already prepared and defensive, and you already thinking like, how am I gonna get out? If this go bad, how do I get out of this situation? What do I do? So that's where the Europeans is. So they making this deal with the black Moors, but they whole time they looking like, we still not, like, we gonna take the deal and we gonna make this money, but we not letting y'all get us again. So that's what happened, even though they never let them get the upper hand again, because they're giving them money, rocking them to sleep. Because remember, the Moors is riding high. We just took over. Okay, y'all push us out, but we still got our land. European never came into their land and took it until afterwards, because they was being rocked to sleep. They thought everything was good. Okay, yeah, we made deals with you and this, that, and other. After that, okay, I'll loan you this. I'll make this for you. Next thing you know, all of them colonized. Right? So that's how Africa gets colonized, because they were, after they got taken over, they decided we're going to stay a step ahead. Right? And they trapped them and put them in position. So that's how Africa gets in the position they are. That's how we end up being brought over in slave ships and be in the position that we are, all through South America, all through America. And that's how everything lands. But who's going to tell us? Right? Whole book is talking about it. Whole book is telling, prophesying, like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Your kid's going to be this and this, that, and the other. Right? But who's going to tell us? Right? Where we leave off?
2 Peter 3:3.
Man, we read 3:3. You got to be at least on 3:4. He trying to have us read 3:3. You love 3:3.
Oh, wait, we on.
We can read it again if you want to.
We on 6.
All right, it's 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 6. What does the book say?
Whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished.
Okay.
But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day.
In other words, you know what he tried to say? You don't know what time the Most High God is on. You running your darn mouth talking about, man, you know what I'm saying? When we've been hearing about his promise, you don't know what type of time the man be on. Man, the man pop up one day to make it happen. The man might just sit on this button and be like, all right, you got it. Right? You don't know what he on. He's sitting there like, man, one day to you is like 1,000 with him, and 1,000 to him is like a day to you. And vice versa. Right? In other words, you have no idea. Relax. Right? Keep going. Watch this.
The Lord is not slack concerning his promise.
He said he's not slack. So in other words, the boy ain't slacking. The man ain't slacking. He's saying the man up there, he's not slacking. Right? Concerning his promise. Right? He told you what was going to happen. You may think something happened, but the man is not slacking concerning the promise. When we look at this, right? All right, so we in the Kings right now, right? But you remember when we was reading way back in Joshua, right? Joshua told the people, he said, when we get into this land, y'all need to do this, that, and the other. Don't fraternize with these other people. Get them out of your land, push them out quick, and do it without fear. If you don't, these are the things that are going to happen. Throughout what we read, did they happen right away? We are just now about to get to this stuff. It's like 450 years later. Right? Most High God, when he said though, he like, that thing going to happen the next day. That's how it make you feel. Okay, let's take Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, right? Most High, we ain't got to get it. I don't want to get it though. But then we ain't got to get it. Most High God said in Genesis, he said, in the day that you eat of it. Is that what he said? He said, you can eat anything in the garden. You in the garden of Eden, have anything. But, what did he say don't eat? He said, don't eat the tree that's in the midst of the garden, even the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Because when you going to die if you eat it?
Once you eat it.
He said, in the day that you eat of it, you're going to surely die. Cool. That's word, right? When did Adam die?
When he was 900 something.
Adam lived to 900 something darn years old. So if Adam didn't see that situation right, Adam can be like, nah, God, you a liar. Right? The only thing that we can look at it and we know that Adam got cut off from life. Right? That very same day, the Most High God put an angel. He put an angel, a cherubim. Right? And he said he had a flaming sword that he turned around. And he said it did what?
He guarded the tree of life.
So this flaming sword that guarded the tree of life cut Adam off from life. And Adam can't go back to the tree of life. Which means what?
He's dead.
You dead. Walking, alive, but your butt dead. If you don't see it spiritually like that and you think the Most High God talking what you thinking about, then you dumb. Like you just don't get it. Right? But once we understand, we're like, oh, the Most High God never talking about what we talking about. He never thinking about stuff we on. He never focused on our concerns. He always thinking like the man is always up here. Y'all, man, when y'all read y'all don't see the focus of the man. You look at the man, somebody run up to him talking about, hey, yo, I want to follow you, but my dad just let me, you know what I'm saying, let me bury my dad first. The man focus, he look man dead in his eye and say, let the dead bury the dead. You follow me. You know what type of focus it takes? He don't have time for it. That you have to, like, that's our picture of a human being, right? Yahushua, Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Of a human being being able to walk around with the same focus that God has. So when we see his focus, how a lot of people today would look, everybody worship Jesus, praise God, oh, Jesus was so kind. But in real life, if you read this and you put it in a real context, and just imagine it as a person that you don't really know, that claims to be, you know what I'm saying, like this godly man, doing and saying some of the stuff that Jesus said, your butt is not rolling. Like, you're going to look at him and be like, no, he's a jerk.
They would have hated him today.
Yeah, they would have did the exact same thing they did back then. It would have been the exact thing. You think these people just killed him because they evil? They didn't think they were darn evil. They killed him because they didn't understand the man. They thought the man was mocking them. They thought the man was a liar. Like, how is this man going to be the one? How is this the Messiah? That don't make sense. He ain't trying to scrap nobody.
The Messiah supposed to come back murking thing.
Oh yeah, they gonna have the same. They gonna have a different type of community. They gonna be like, oh, but Jesus is so kind and loving. Man gonna show up cutting heads off. They'll be like, I don't know who this is. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. It's like you gonna have it backwards both times, but that's how he wanted it.
It's gonna take 7 months to bury them bodies.
He said he only want the people that pay attention. You gotta pay it. You gotta look at the word. The way that thing is described, you look at it. We can get a picture of how focused the Most High God is by looking at how focused the Yahushua is. How no matter what, people try to turn him to this side, try to distract him and take him over here. No matter what, the man told him what? I got to get where?
I'm about my father's business.
He said, I got to go to Jerusalem. I'm about my father. Even when the man was, what, 12 years old? He's a 12-year-old boy. You just posted. He's a 12-year-old boy. His parents took him to Passover, to our holiday, our celebration. He sat down, started learning from the priest. Parents forgot, the whole bunch of people. Parents didn't realize that he wasn't with them when they traveling back home. And they looking like, where he at? They go back and find his bad butt. He's sitting down there at the priest. They asking him, what you doing? Why you ain't come with us? He looking like, man, I'm about my father's business. Even as a kid, the boy said, I'm focused. Like, I don't have time. I have stuff I need to do, and he knew it. Well, that's how God is. He's not focused. Like, when we focus, we're tainted by desires and all these different things. Yahushua was too. Jesus was too, right? But he had the focus of God so we can overcome all that, right? So God, he's not tainted by none of that foolishness. Most High God is just looking like, this the end game, and this how we get here. So now, I'm giving you an opportunity to get in the game and play. It's like a coach. It's like, I'm giving you an opportunity. You can go run this play for me. However, if you don't, I got 16 other boys lined up to go do the same thing you do. So you can do whatever you want to do. Take this opportunity or not. But I'm giving you the opportunity to run this play. Or you don't run the run. Fine. Do what you want to do. You run the play. Or you don't want to run either. You. Well, how do you think we get all these kings? Who remember King David? What was the promise to King David?
He sit on the throne forever. One of his sons.
No. That's how it turned out. What was the promise to David? Not one of his sons. He said, your son. He didn't say one of your sons. He said, your son will sit on the throne forever. Who was his son?
All them boys.
No, who was his son at that time?
Solomon.
Solomon took the kingdom. David knew Solomon was going to get that kingdom, right? But Solomon wasn't that boy. Solomon sinned. What happened next? Rehoboam. Rehoboam sinned. What happened next? Abijam sinned. This is how God operates. Oh no, I'm going to give it to your son. We look at the same thing with Abraham. He told Abraham what?
So I'm going to give you this land. Give it to your son.
I'm going to give it to your son. Right? Isaac came along. Who was his son? What happened after that?
Jacob came.
Then Jacob came along. What happened after that? Renamed the man Israel. Then you get the 12 sons of Israel. Then all them came along. It got narrowed down eventually to Judah. And then we get here. So all the Most High God is doing is saying, I made a few promises to a few people. And I have to uphold my promise. But I'm not doing it with your butt. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? And he did that until he got to his son. He said, listen, none of y'all going to do it, obviously. So let me finagle this thing a little bit. Let me figure out. I'm going to put myself in a man. Right? I'm going to be a man. I'm going to show y'all how it's done. In order to keep the promise, this is how it got to happen. So in order to keep the promise, I need a man from Judah because I told David it's going to be his son, right? So I need a son of David, somebody who descends from David. Okay, we got Joseph. Then I need a woman. She got to descend from David too. Okay, now we got Mary. Cool. These two never came together. But according to the law, if a woman, you know what I'm saying, is with a man, then all her inheritance, if she don't, you know what I'm saying, if she don't have like somebody to pass her inheritance down to, goes to that man that she marries. Okay, cool. So now this woman, since she ain't got nobody to pass her inheritance down to, or her father's inheritance down to, she marries this man from Judah, son of David. They get married. Then she gets pregnant without his help, right? God makes her pregnant. So that means that becomes, according to the law, his son, right? Technically not his son, though. So now you have a man that's not tainted by a man, right? Born by the Spirit of God. But still, according to our law, the son of David. So the Most High God had to like, all right, how we going to, you know what I'm saying? None of y'all cutting it. So how we going, you know what I mean? How do we put this together in a way where it's still according to my law and I'm still keeping my promise to Abraham and I'm keeping my promise to David? I got it. Hold my bag. I'll take care of it. Right? Then the man came down there and did what he had to do as Yahushua, as Jesus, right? He did what he had to do, hung on the cross, right? Died 3 days in the ground, got back up. Money in the bank.
God ain't gonna never ask you to do something that he ain't did already.
That thing is done business. But the Most High God said, I'm going to give you a chance. Go ahead and play. Go ahead and do your thing. Nah, none of y'all going to cut it. So now you notice, right? Israel, right? Our land, our original land, stayed in place until, kind of stayed in place, right? So stayed in place, stayed known as a nation until Yahushua came. He died. He went up to the Father. After that, Romans wiped us out. And we've never been back since. Right? After the Romans wiped us out, nobody's ever come back. That was the plan, the guy. He said, because he had to look at it and say, I got to punish y'all the way I told y'all I was going to punish y'all. If you read Deuteronomy chapter 28, he lists out all the punishments that's going to happen if we did all the foolishness that we've been reading about all these weeks. Right? So if we did all this foolishness, he said, these are all the things that was going to happen. Some of those things was the land was going to be desolate. Some of those things was y'all going to be taken back to Egypt in ships. When they're talking about Egypt, it's talking about here in America, they're talking about spiritual Egypt. What does Egypt mean in Hebrew? Bondage, right? I'm taking you back to bondage in ships, right? Promise fulfilled. So in order for those things to happen, he is like, okay, I promised David that he would always have somebody on the throne, right? If I wipe Israel out now and David don't have somebody on the throne, guess who I failed my promise to? David. But if I make myself a man and I die and I go up and sit on the right hand of who?
Father.
Okay. Then there's always a man on that throne. Right? So I can wipe out Israel. The man is already up. And he can come back at any point and sit on that throne. And I kept my promise.
That's what a prophecy, you always say, I seen one like the Son of Man sitting on the throne. Or I seen something like the Son, like saying, I seen in heaven all these weird looking creatures and it's something like a human being sitting on that throne. Like in Ezekiel and Daniel and all that stuff. That's why they be saying that. They were like, man, there's something like when he was in the fire and Nebuchadnezzar was like, it's something like a son of man looking like a god out there.
Grab.
That thing's crazy.
Grab 2 Chronicles chapter 26. Let's talk some more. Let's try to shoot through this real quick. It's 2 Chronicles chapter 26. Every time they describe something in heaven, what it look like?
Son of man.
Nah.
What?
When Ezekiel described him, what it look like?
Son of man. It's like flame fire. You know what I'm saying? His eyes like fire.
I ain't talking about the Son of Man. What else they describe?
The cherub.
What they look like?
They look like some crazy creature, like 4 wings, 2 wings covering his body, 2 wings he flew.
That's Isaiah, right?
4 faces.
They say, face look like a lion, a bear, right? You got real creatures that they describe, right? But you see one that looked like a son of man. Son of man is another way of saying what?
Human being.
Right? Right now we say human being, right? But when we say son of man, it's actually saying son of Adam, right? And the way our thought process, we're talking about descendants. So it's like a descendant of the first man, right? So it's the son of man, just like, you know what I'm saying, look like a human being, right?
Look like a man.
Because everything else you look at that looks special, looking like a man. Yeah, everything else you look at that looks special, it didn't look like that. You know what I'm saying? They might have had like a feature or two, but no, them things, you know what I'm saying, they had a whole bunch of wings and all types of stuff coming out of them. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah.
Lose it.
It's 2 Chronicles chapter 26. Let's shoot through this real quick. Let's see what we work.
26?
Yeah, 2 Chronicles chapter 26. It's important that we know that we gotta know it. How you gonna? I'm just trying to figure out. I don't know how these pastors call themselves getting people to the kingdom if they don't teach us the history. That history, man. Trying to understand the New Testament, not understanding that history, man. You have no walls. You don't have nothing to close you in to kind of let you know this is the only direction you can go. That's why these Christians, man, they can go anywhere with it. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's like they can do whatever because they don't have no structure to tell them this is the foundation from which everything else was built on.
Right. What was that? What was that on The Office? You know, so Pharaoh was like juggling nothing.
That's what they doing.
That's exactly what they did.
That's what they doing.
That's crazy.
All right, keep going. It's 2 Chronicles chapter 26, verse 1.
Then all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old, and made him king in the room of his father Amaziah.
Mm-hmm.
He built Eloth and restored it to Judah after the king slept with his fathers.
Okay.
16 years old was Uzziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
His mother's name also was Jechaliah of Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah did.
All right, so this Uzziah right here. All right, Uzziah, he said he did everything that was right in the sight of the Most High God. Let's hear about it. All right? Because we know we had a few kings before that. They wasn't doing what was right. We had Joash, right? Joash did some stuff because he's a young boy. Brought up by who?
The priest.
He had brought up by the priest, right?
Jehoiada.
So the priest brought him up right. So he did some things that were right.
When the priest died.
Amaziah? Mm-mm. So you got Uzziah. Okay, good. We got one. Uzziah, he said he did stuff that was pleasing to the Most High God. Let's hear about it.
And he sought God in the days of Zechariah, who had understanding in the visions of God.
Okay.
And as long as he sought the Lord, God made him to prosper.
Mm-hmm.
And he went forth and warred against the Philistines and brake down the wall of Gath and the wall of Jebneh,
Mm-hmm.
and all the wall of Ashdod, and the built cities about Ashdod among the Philistines. And God helped him against the Philistines and against the Arabians that dwelt in Gurbaal, and the Mehunims. And the Ammonites gave gifts to Uzziah, and his name spread abroad, even to the entering of Egypt. For he strengthened himself exceedingly.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate and the valley gate, and the turning of the wall, and fortified them. Also he built towers in the desert and digged many wells, for he had much cattle, both in the low country and in the plains.
All right, so the man was balling, in other words. He had a little money. You know what I'm saying? He had cattle. That was wealth, right? And so he building stuff to kind of build his country back up, right? It's Judah. Remember, these are kings of Judah on this side. So we talking about a king of Judah, descendant of David, one of the kings, right? So keep going.
And in the plains, husbandmen also, and vine dressers in the mountains and in Carmel, for he loved husbandry.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, Uzziah...
What's husbandry? Being a good husband?
No, people that like keep the field.
Right? When we look at the word husbandry, that means somebody who's working working in the farm, working in the field, a farmer pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody who worked with vines, you know what I'm saying, work with, you know what I'm saying, grow grapes and, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Keep going.
Moreover, Uzziah had a host of fighting men that went out to war by bands, according to the number of their account, by the hand of Jeiel the scribe, and Messiah the ruler,
Mm-hmm.
under the hand of Hananiah, one of the king's captains.
Mm-hmm.
The whole number of the chief of the fathers of the mighty men of valor were 2,600.
So you had a nice little army, right? Let's keep going. Watch it.
And under their hand was an army, 300,000 and 7,500. 300,000, 7,500.
So the man doing all right, right?
That made
Following the
war.
Most High God taking care of him. He got a little wealth, got a nice little army. He a good country. His kingdom is doing all right, right? Keep going. Watch it.
That made war with mighty power to help the king against the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And Uzziah prepared for them throughout all the host shields and spears and helmets and habergeons and bows and slings to cast stones. And he made in Jerusalem engines, invented by cunning men, to be on the towers and upon the bulwarks, to shoot arrows and great stones withal.
So he made machines.
Yeah, buddy.
Right? He made little machines where he could shoot. You remember, you watch them old movies.
Crossbows.
They had them big old machines where you can pull it back and they shoot the arrows and all that. He made some of them. Right? Watch this.
And his name spread far abroad, for he was marvelously helped till he was strong. But when he was strong, his heart was lifted up to his destruction. For he transgressed against the Lord God.
He did what?
He transgressed against the Lord his God.
So when he was strong, his heart did what?
His heart straight away.
Nah, keep going.
His heart was lifted up to his destruction.
All right? When he was strong, that boy got to a certain point, his heart lifted up. What does that mean, his heart lifted up?
Too much pride, I got this.
Start thinking a little much of himself, right?
I'm the man.
I'm like, yeah, man.
Nobody seeing me.
I make the decisions around here, right? What else happened after that? He said his heart lifted up to his destruction. What else? And he did what? He did what against God?
He transgressed against the Lord his God.
So then he transgressed against the Most High God. How did he do that? Let me see.
He went into the temple of the Lord to burn incense upon the altar of incense.
Who's supposed to do that?
The priest.
We have a very strict law. It tells us exactly how things are supposed to be.
That boy was like, I can light these incenses. I'm the king.
If you a priest, I mean, can anybody be a priest? A lot of our stuff is based off of lineage, right? It's important that we know that because this is what helps us separate stuff. Like we can look at it. There's a lot of people right now that believe the people that's in Israel are the people, right? They be looking like that's the people of God. Like everybody believe that. They donate money. Oh please.
They doing a new one now.
They donate money. You got infomercial to come on. There's children in Israel. It's one of the richest countries, right? Smallest and the richest country. There's children in Israel. Right now, just donate right now. This, that, and other. Got a little Israeli, that little flyer. They try to take the whole African plan that they do. They do the same thing for Israel. You donate money. Cool thing is, though, a lot of the churches, if you watch the church channels in the morning, a lot of their channels, they ain't even going to show you no poor Israeli. They just going to say donate to them just because. That's what God wants you to do. Right? So you donate to these people and give them the money all because you think they the people. Right? So if you think they the people and they build and they tell you they building a third temple, right? They trying to set up this third temple. And they say, you know what? We have this altar. Remember they put together that altar. So now they built this altar. You look at it, if you don't know, if your mindset is, yeah, I mean, they're the people of God, so any one of them can be priests. Right? If that's your mindset, if that's the assumption you make because you don't know our law, then you might follow that. For us, even if we didn't know we was Hebrews, right? Even if we didn't know, that would be, if we know the book, that would be an alarm for us. Be like, whoa, 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 whoa. You shouldn't be messing with that altar unless you are a descendant of Aaron. So now I need you to tell me how you know that you are a descendant of Aaron. Do you trace your lineage all the way back to Aaron? And if so, how? Like, show me how you did that. Right? They ain't gonna be able to. These people make a darn mess. Alright? You see, remember the Most High God. Remember what did he do to, what was it, Uzziah? You know what I'm saying? Uzzah. You know what I'm saying? What did he do to Uzzah when Uzzah, you remember David was having, you know what I'm saying, David was throwing that parade. And he had the parade and he had them carry the altar. Carry the Ark of the Covenant. You know what I'm saying? They had carrying it on the cart, you remember? And when he had carried it on the cart, Uzzah was sitting there, he had carrying it. But Uzzah, you know what I'm saying, he started having a little fun. Right? And then he dropped it. And then all of a sudden, the Ark of the Covenant like it was about to fall. And what Uzzah do? He tried to catch the Ark of the Covenant from hitting the ground. The man caught it. What God do to him? Uzzah, you know the rules. What's wrong with you? It's better to let it hit the ground than to touch it when the Most High God don't say touch it. You have to understand, we might see that, and like a lot of people unfamiliar with how God works, you might look at that as mean. Like God is like, he doesn't have any mercy. But that's not it. But the Most High God said, I need you to trust me. I need you to trust that if that's going to fall, and you know you're not supposed to be touching it, there's something special going to happen to keep it from hitting the ground. Or it's going to hit the ground. And I'm going to let you know, it's all right. I'll build another one. Right? You have to be able to trust. Like, imagine if the Most High God was about to use that moment to show everybody, like, it floats. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody, I don't need y'all to carry. Yeah, y'all carrying it on the cart, but look at it float now. That's the type of stuff that Most High God do. When he told Moses to cross the Red Sea. Right? At that time, was it split? Moses was like, all right. He's like, no, don't worry about it. Just stick your hand. Remember when Moses was running out, what was also happening behind Moses?
He was closing up.
He had all the enemy closing up. He got to the water where he was supposed to go, and it was a dead end. And everybody started getting nervous. They was running toward it, and they started getting nervous. It wasn't like, but the Most High God, now what if they just would have been like, oh, we give up. Sorry, guys. Then you missed that entire part of history. Moses was like, he kept reminding, remember, stay strong. Everybody stay strong, because he knew. He like, I know God going to do something. I know I got to do what the man told me to do. And if I do that, something is going to happen. Because the man told me to. Right? And actually, you know, whole water just opened up. Book say that thing was like a wall on each side. Then it say you can see the fishes. You see the darn fishes just float through it. You know what I'm saying? Like you in SeaWorld walking through. You know, what's that place they got out here? What's that place? Is the Shark Reef? Where we go that one place, we walk through that tunnel, you can see all the stuff. It was a Shark Reef? You know that Shark Reef, you walk past, you can see all the stuff, you know what I'm saying? All the fish, you know what I'm saying? Just floating all that. That's how that thing was. When I walked through that thing, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, look at me. You know what I'm talking about? I walked through that thing like, yeah, split it, Lord. You know what I'm saying? I was in a trend. I thought, because that thing is amazing. I like that. Hey, walk through that thing. You know what I'm saying? You walking through, man. You know what I mean? Jokes I've been shooting like, ha! Thought you was going to get her. I didn't skip it. No, I would have been walking slow. I'll tell you that much. You wasn't going to get her. That thing closed up. As soon as the Egyptians tried to go through that same route, that thing closed up on them. They still digging up their stuff from under that sea. Like, that's the way that the Most High God, that's the faith that he wants us to have. Right? Yeah, he killed Uzzah. To the Most High God, he was expendable. But what does that create for us? A lesson. We able to look at it and be like, oh, that's how serious God is. Once we get it, like once we understand God's character, because sometimes throughout history we forget his character. Right? We don't know how serious the man is. We go, okay, God is merciful, because that's how God had been at that point. A lot of people were messing up. God wasn't killing nobody. David came onto the picture. He wanted God to be close. God said, okay, I'm close now. But when I'm close, people won't have to die if they do the wrong thing now. If you want me close, people going to have to obey. If you don't want me close, cool, y'all do what y'all want to do. But when I get close, I'm punishing all y'all eventually anyway. Ain't nobody going to escape. Right? You can get it fast, you can get it slow, how you want it. So that takes us back to what we were talking about in 2 Peter. The man said, the man is not slack concerning his promise. Right? You want him fast. But if you want him fast, that's going to come with a price. When he come back, what's going to happen?
Killing it.
You have to understand, when God is close, like it's not a game. He's not sitting here playing. When I'm close to you, people have to do what I say. I'm backing up for you. What did he say? Every time Israel started acting up, what did he say? I'm taking my eyes off of what?
No, Israel.
I can't look at it, because if I do, I'm just going to start knocking people off. That's what he said. He said, I'm going to be a swift witness. He said, when I get back, I'm going to be, in other words, what's a witness, right? In the Bible terms. When we look at a witness, what are they talking about?
It's like, I saw you, now you got to pay the price for what you did. It's like I caught you. Like you're busted.
A witness come into place when you need how many?
2 or 3.
You with 2 or 3 witnesses, anybody could die. Right? If you got 2 people without dispute, right? Just come up and be like, oh yeah, I saw Philip do such and such. And it's a sin worthy of death. I could die based off of that. I would have to have 6, 7 people come up against you. You know what I'm saying? Making an argument and a debate, and then the judge has to make a decision. But if you just got 2 witnesses that say I did that and nobody disputed, oh, I'm done. That's it. That's all you need according to our law. So the Most High God is, when he say witness, that's what we think, right? Because he told it, he said, better by the word of 2 or 3 witnesses. Anybody can get it. Right? So when he said, I'm going to be a swift witness, oh, I know what that means. Man said, I'm coming quick. I'm coming quick, and I'm going to tell you what's going on, and then I'm going to get that butt. Right? Judgment coming quick. All right, keep going.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? He see he got to get you. So he already got 2 or 3, you know what I'm saying? Because the Father, the Spirit, they testify against
Go kill him. Zakai, go kill a bug.
That's why that thing was set up. People might start saying like,
Zakai, the realest one out of all y'all. Go ahead, Zakai, go kill him.
Witnesses only out, shoot a couple. It's like, nah. You know what I'm saying?
Go get him. Go kill him with your shoe, son. Let's see what we got.
And Azariah the priest went in after him, and with him 80 priests, 80 priests of the Lord that were valiant men.
Watch what the priest did.
And they withstood Uzziah the king.
Because Uzziah, what was he doing just now?
Burning incense.
He was burning incense. Who was supposed to burn the incense?
The priest.
So now the priest see him doing that. And how many priests came in there?
80.
80 of them things. They came in there and they like, you alright? He the king though. You have to understand this picture. That's the king. But the priest was put in charge of what?
The temple.
So who the king when you come into that temple? Well, you better get your butt out of here playing with us. That's hard people. What we didn't play. A lot of us played away. I ain't gonna say it make it look like all of us. We was a mess just like we a mess now, right? But at least back then we had a segment of people that took this thing very serious. Right? Very serious. So he walked in there, them 80 priests walked up like, oh no. That's not gonna happen. I don't care who you king, not king. You are king, and I appreciate that. When you in here, okay. Alright, because I mean, you gotta know the history. You don't think they know the history? You think they know our history? When David went and he went to the priest and a king was chasing him. What king was that?
Saul.
King Saul, right? So King Saul was chasing David before he became king. And David went to a priest and he asked that priest for what?
Bread.
Asked the priest for something to eat. The priest offered him what?
The showbread.
He offered him the showbread. Who's supposed to eat the showbread?
Priest and his family.
Only the priest and his family are supposed to eat that showbread. Right? Did the priest give him that bread?
As long as you kept yourself from women.
He said, as long as you and your men keep yourself from women, I can give you the bread. Right? Okay. What happened to David?
He ate the bread.
And what happened to him? He went on to become what?
King.
David was alright. He ate the bread. David was alright. What happened to the priest?
They got killed.
What happened to the priest family?
They got killed.
What did Most High God prophesy about the priest family?
You will bear the iniquity of the sanctuary.
So if you know our history, you would look at that and be like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. If I let you burn this incense, your butt gonna go and live a happy life. I'm gonna be the one. So that's why they came in there ADD. They looking at like, no, not us. God, like, oh, God, I hope you're watching. We about to knock him out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not happening on our watch. Because they know the blood is not gonna be on him. It's gonna be on us. But if they do their job, guess who the blood is on? Ain't that what Ezekiel told us? He told us about the watchman, didn't he? He said, watchman, go out there and if you see a war coming, blow the trumpet. He said, whoever listens to the trumpet, what's going to happen?
He gonna be saved.
But whoever don't listen to the trumpet,
He gonna get taken.
and the blood is going to be on whose hands?
His own hand.
But if you don't blow the trumpet and these people get caught, what's going to happen?
It's gonna be on you.
So if you don't do your job, then it's going to be on you. Everything your fault. If you do your job and people don't do what they supposed to do, it's on them. That's it. He said if they don't listen to that trumpet, blood is on their hands. But if you don't blow the trumpet, blood is on your hands. Priests make sure we going to fulfill our responsibility. 40 deep. Let's see. 80 deep. Let's see. That's a lot of darn priests.
And they withstood Uzziah the king and said unto him, it pertains not unto you, Uzziah, to burn incense unto the Lord.
When they say this pertains not unto you, that's another way of saying this ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, this ain't got nothing to do with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear about it.
But to the priests, the sons of Aaron, that are consecrated to burn incense, go out.
What consecrated mean?
Designated.
Designated, set apart, right? You've been selected to burn incense, right? Keep going. Just trying to make sure we understand what these words mean.
Go out of the sanctuary, for you have trespassed. Neither shall it be for your honor from the Lord God. Then Uzziah was angry and had a censer in his hand to burn incense. And while he was angry with the priest...
Censer is like a lamp, you know what I'm saying? It's like a little torch, you know what I'm saying? So he had a censer in his hand to burn incense.
And while he was angry with the priest, the leprosy rose up in his forehead before the priest in the house of the Lord.
What's leprosy?
The skin disease, kind of.
All right. So you ever seen what they call that condition? The skin condition? What's it called? That's it. Vitiligo. That's what leprosy look like, right? What say it again?
I want to say vitiligo.
Vitiligo. I can't say it either. Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying. That would be. You remember we have laws even for leprosy, right? If somebody had a spot, you know what I'm saying. We as Hebrew, we black. So if you had a white spot on your skin, what would happen?
You get put out from among your people. They'd have to put you out.
Who would have to though? Anybody?
Priest.
Priest had to put you out.
Have to shut you up in the house.
Right? And set you out in the house where?
Outside of the city, like on the outskirts.
Right? And what was in the midst of the at that time, what was in the midst of our camp?
The tabernacle.
Tabernacle. So you have to understand like what's happening right now. The whole point of the priest is to keep you as far away from the tabernacle as possible if he see a little white part on your skin. Right? That was our law. He had to shut you up. And then when he shut you up in there, he kept you in there for how long?
7 days.
And then what was he checking for after that 7 days? He gonna come back and he gonna examine your skin. What was he looking for?
To see the spread.
Because if that spot got bigger, how long you gonna be in there again?
About 7 more days.
But what if it stayed exactly the same?
I think, what did he do? Let you out?
I think the law say you stay in there 7 days, make sure it still stay the same the next 7 days. If I'm not mistaken.
Then if it was the same, he'd let you out.
Yeah.
Then you'd have to
2 weeks, he got to stay the same. If it stay the same, you good. That's just that vertigo or whatever it is, right? But if that thing's spreading, that's leprosy. It's different. It looked the same.
You gotta burn his clothes and take.
Oh yeah, whole house gotta get tore up. Everything got because he said that's a skin disease, right? But your skin be leprous. It's white, right? So that's what he's looking at. They're standing there, and we have very strict laws around leprosy, right? You're not supposed to touch the temple. You're not supposed to come anywhere near the temple with leprosy. The Most High God made the king break out in leprosy in the temple. So before we read it, how do you think these priests are about to react? They about to freak out. Because this is not supposed, like, you're contaminated, right? This is our response. You already messing up. Watch this. I love this thing. Most I gotta know exactly what he's doing.
Then Uzziah was angry and had a censer in his hand to burn incense. And while he was angry with the priest, the leprosy rose up in his forehead before the priest in the house.
Look where the Most High God put it. He could have started that thing underneath this shirt. He's like, "No, I'm gonna do you bad, boy." That thing started right here. Everybody can see that thing. Let me watch how these priests react. Watch it. These boys start going having a nervous breakdown. Watch it.
And Azariah, the chief priest, and all the priests looked upon him, and behold, he was leprous in his forehead, and they thrust him out from
that boy. Listen, you get your darn butt up. They got it butt out of there. Watch it. Keep going.
Like Jeffrey on Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
He himself hasted also to go out because the Lord had smitten him. And Uzziah the king was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in the several house, being a leper, for he was.
What's a several house? I mean, it's a bunch of houses.
It's like set apart, like he was.
Several as in severed. You know what I'm saying? So it's a several house. That means you got your separate house, because you can't be. You know what I'm saying? You can't just live in a regular house if you the king. So we gonna hook you up, but you gotta be isolated. You gotta be quarantined. Priest got to check on him. He had it for the rest of his life. I mean, when they checked on him, it kept spreading, right? It never stopped spreading. So he had it for the rest of his life.
And he was cut off from the house of the Lord. And Jotham, his son, was over the king's house, judging the people of the land.
All right, so this is Jotham now. All right, so Jotham, while he was shut out, he was still the king, but while he was shut out, his son was judging the people. In other words, if somebody had a question or had a dispute or a decision need to be made, Jotham. So Jotham was kind of like the acting king, but wasn't actually king, right? Keep going.
Now the rest of the acts of Uzziah, the first and the last, Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, write.
He said, who?
Isaiah the prophet.
Isaiah the prophet. Right? All right. Let's check out
So
Isaiah.
Uzziah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the field of the burial which large belonged to the kings.
All right. Real quick, let's go to Isaiah, and then we'll wrap it up. This is Isaiah chapter 6. Give me verse 1. You know what I'm saying? People read this book. They read this book. How they read it? They gonna read it. Okay, let's just start at Genesis and go all the way to Revelations. Make a darn fool out of yourself.
That's how I heard that thing at first.
Right. You make a darn fool out of yourself. You got to do it. I mean, you got to get through it at some point. You don't have to muddle through it. But to understand it, you got to understand, like, oh, Isaiah, because it just mentioned, it told us Isaiah wrote about it, right? So you got to be like, oh, Isaiah wrote about it. Oh, well, let me stop here and let me go see what Isaiah talking about then, right? It's Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1. That's what we do. They look at it and be like, why y'all jump around so much? Hey, some people even tell you, I can't listen to him. He jump around too much. That's how people sneak stuff, and that's how people, that's how people confuse you, and this, that, and another. But oh, that's what you think. You think that's how people do it. Oh, okay. How the book tell you you're supposed to read it? He said, how? He said what? And then what else? How Paul told Timothy? He said, you gotta what?
Rightfully divide the word.
You gotta do what to the word?
Rightfully divide the word.
Yahushua said, he said, a person who is, he said, a scribe who is instructed into the kingdom is like what?
The householder.
He's like a householder who does what?
Brings forth out of his good treasure things new and old. Go.
So no matter what, anytime you have somebody representing a good understanding of the book, it's always talking about putting pieces together. He said you got to precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here a little, there a little. Please, you read this thing straight through if you want to. It's good. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying you can't stick with that. You do that until once you get familiar with it, at some point, most like God got to start connecting pieces to you. You got to be like, wait a minute. It's my third time reading the Bible. And I read, like, this is talking about that. But I remember reading that over here. What was that? Jeremiah. Oh, Jeremiah was talking about that. Okay, they was in the same time period. Oh, this was a prophecy of that. And this thing is just like, how them detectives be having like the strings and all that. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. Like when we be up here talking and all that, that's what our brains is doing. Our brains like, oh, whoa, that connect with this. And we hear certain things, it's just like that. It's only because we read through the Bible, right? And we gotten it familiar. And that's why I take y'all through the Bible. You see, you never gonna see us ever do a string of Bible studies where it's just random. Right? Not on purpose. You know what I'm saying? It might be random just because we get off topic, but it ain't never I'm never coming in here with a mind like, what we gonna talk about today? Never. It's always gonna be, okay, we read this last week, this is what happens next, guys. Right? Because I want y'all to be able to put everything in context. Right? We have to understand the history. How did we get from here to here? I don't want y'all to just feel like Jesus just popped on the scene. That didn't happen. That's not how it worked. There was an entire history that came before that. And then that makes how he popped on the scene much more valuable. Right? You understand why he's talking the way he's talking. You understand why everybody's reacting to him. These people, how you thinking the Pharisees are just evil people. And by doing that, you rob yourself. Because now when you look out into the world, you can't recognize the same problem that the Pharisees have that's right here in this world today. Just people thinking that they have it right and they don't. And based off of their thoughts, they make a bad decision. That's all that happened with the Pharisees. They thought they had it right. They thought they were protecting their nation. They thought they were doing the right thing. Even God said it himself. He said, there comes a time where somebody who do what?
They're gonna kill you.
And think they do what?
Me service.
He said, this is not an old prophecy either. Yahushua, Jesus himself said, don't worry, it's about to happen where these people gonna kill y'all and they gonna think that they doing God's service. He said that right before he died. And right after he died, what did they do?
Start coming after them.
They start killing them boys. And they start doing it in the name of God. It's the same stuff that we're looking at today. Different. Our people a lot more violent back then. Now we soft. Right? But now, they doing the same thing. They cutting people off. They accepting different people. They make you, if you walk into a church right now and tell them, you know what? My goal is to be completely without sin.
Yeah.
Logically, it sounds like nothing's wrong with that. If you don't believe me, walk into a church and say it. Just say it to the pastor. You know what? My goal, I'm not there yet, but my goal is to be completely without sin. And I'm not letting up on myself until it happens. I guarantee they're going to spend the rest of their time talking to you, trying to explain to you how it's not that serious. And this is in the church. They're going to tell you, no, see, nobody can be without sin. Jesus died because that's impossible, son. You don't want to do that. Oh, well, no, don't beat up on yourself. That becomes legalism. They're going to hit you up with all this type of stuff that you will not find in the Bible. You got to ask yourself, why? It's not because they're evil. It's not because these people, it's not because they know they're evil, at least. It's not like they're consciously evil. It's because they don't know. And they've been fed this stuff and they've been reading it from the purpose-driven life and all these books outside of the Bible to the point where when they read the Bible, they think they're seeing what they've been told. Right? That's why we look at it. You look at the actual words. You be critical of the actual words. If something don't seem right, question it. Why did God say that? Ain't that a contradiction when God say that, but he said this over here? Then resolve the contradiction. Get the full context. Why don't it seem like these match up? That's why you understand stuff. A lot of these Christians don't resolve these contradictions. They walking in a lot of contradiction and they'll sit you flat-footed, look you right in the face. The Bible don't contradict, knowing they think it do. Like, there's no way that you sitting here talking about the Bible don't contradict, believing some of the stuff you believe. Because that's direct contradiction. What you believe is in contradiction with the Bible. So how you going to say it don't contradict? You know you think it contradicts. You're just scared to say it because you know it's not supposed to. Right? We just have to be honest with ourselves. I don't believe it. This seems pretty fantastic to me. Right? One you and the one that hung me up. It was Samson. Samson getting his hair, you know what I'm saying, getting his hair chopped. He dealt with the same woman, and the woman set him up 3 different times. She is like, yeah, man, what's your weakness? How do I get to your weakness? He told her a lie. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, she set him up for whatever lie, thinking that was going to be his weakness. Didn't want his weakness. He, you know what I'm saying, knocked over all the people that tried to get him, came back to the same woman. Same woman was like, so, you know what I'm saying, tell me seriously this time, what's your weakness? He told her a different lie. You know what I'm saying? So she tried to set him up with that lie. It wasn't really his weakness. He knocked him over. Last time she was like, what, do you hate me? You know what I'm saying? Just tell me. And he told her the truth this time. Then she chopped off his hair. That was his weakness. And then the boys got him. And so at first I was like, who would be that stupid? That doesn't even sound like a real story. Until I started thinking about it. I was like, my boys tell these girls a lot of stupid stuff. And the girls keep doing the same thing to them. I was like, that's 1,000% believable. I see it all the time. We all have these relationships where we know exactly what's about to happen. We know this is a bad relationship for us. We know this woman ain't got our good interest. And we'll keep repeating until we get fed up. And then we're like, all right, I'm done and I'll move on. Right? Same thing with the women. So when you put it in context, it's like, oh, because when you read it, it's happening back to back, so you feel like it's the same day. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he just came back the same day and did it. But no, this is a span of time. It's like years and years. So, okay, you know what I'm saying? Your boy, you tried to get your uncles to beat me up. I beat them up. I don't mess with you for a while. All right, we start cozying back up. All right, I forgive you. You ask me again. I'm going to lie to you again because I don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? You did it again. And the last time, you really act out. It's like, man, all right, look, man, this is what it really is. Because she got you that time. Right? Stuff it totally, so it's like stuff like that. At first, it may seem a certain way because you're reading it. Right? But then the thing that I learned about the Bible is you have to compare it to real life. Yeah. You have to be like, okay, does this type of stuff really happen? What would it look like if I was in that like page? And that's how we can get it. That's why we can talk about the Pharisees and we can look at them and be like, oh, okay, I get them. Like, I feel them. Actually, when I empathize with her. I'll be looking at them like, I would have done the same thing.
Ain't no way they were supposed to know.
The man confused. It's like, it wasn't like he purposely set them up. Like he purposely put them in a position to think one thing about him, even though it was another thing, where they would have to kill him because he needed to die. And you think about it like that, at first you just look at our Pharisees evil, but when you think about like somebody has to be the man that's holding the bag. Like somebody has to be the fall man. Oh, but God set it all up.
Scripture never said that he was going to be from Galilee. Never said he's going to be from Nazareth.
Whole book say, man, it's going to be from Bethlehem, going to be from Judah, all these things. But guess what? He was born in Bethlehem and then immediately went where?
To Egypt.
To Egypt, and then after that to Galilee. So who knew? They had no birth certificate. Who knew the man was born in Judah? So everybody who know him from Galilee. So you looking at him, you like, why everybody talking like you the Messiah? I know the scriptures. These men knew it. I know it. It's no way it's nothing. I'm looking. There's nothing. They said it, right? No one comes from Galilee. They said it. Like, that's literally boogie. Like, man, we ain't got nobody coming from Galilee. You can't be the Messiah.
They said he was supposed to come back and rule, kill all of these Gentiles.
Like, that's what the Messiah is pitched in the Bible. The Messiah is pitched as somebody who rescues our people from the Gentiles. Gentiles have us captives, rescue. So right at that time, who had us captive?
Romans.
So if you're not coming in here talking about how you're going to kill these Romans, you're not the Messiah. That's our thought process. It was a setup. He set them up. So you look at him, I empathize with him. I'm like, knowing me, I probably would have been like, yeah, kill him. You know what I'm saying? Give me a stone. Let me get at him.
Small details in various prophets, real small details talks about what he was going to do with the healing and coming in peace, right? He was like, not by, what do you say, not by the sword, but by my spirit.
Yeah.
You know
so it's those little things, but what parts are we focused on?
Yeah, like, get him.
Look, we was the most stuck up people there are because we're the people of God. Like, God never talked to anybody but us, right? So I'm God's people. Okay, I messed up. We sinned against God. All right, so he let the Romans take over us. But we know that, right? We like, all right, we know we messed up. So we look at the Romans looking at us like, we the strongest nation. That's not how we look at the Romans. We look at the Romans like, boy, God just let you do that because we messed up. Right? But they poke at us constantly. Right? You Hebrews this. They come into our temple every now and again and disrespect our temple. The Greeks too, right? They come into our stuff and they mess with us. So we hate them, right? We like, you can't do this. We are different. Like, we a special, peculiar people said by God. Y'all can't come over here and just do this stuff to us. We stuck up, right? So after a while, we develop a hate for these people. Like, these Romans keep disrespecting us, and God ain't letting us do nothing about it because we've been sinning against him. Cool. Then you get this weak, because what you thinking about is all the problem. Because like that, what your mind is, I hate them, right? I hate them. I want something to happen to them. So when you reading all these Messiah passages, you focusing on the ones that's like, oh, we gonna come and I'm gonna slice their heads off and everybody gonna be bleeding and God is gonna strike them down. Those passages are in there. That's your focus when you hate the people that's ruling you, right? So all this peace talk, you be like, oh, no, that's talking about something else. Right? You just read right over there, that's talking about something. No, that's talking about something else. Right? Because you develop all this animosity against these people. And then this man come here talking about, hey, how's everybody doing? No, the sinners too. I just came so that people can be saved. Get back. Yeah, relax. Right? He just come along, yeah, this, that, another. No, I just, you know what I'm saying? No, the Son of Man has to be lifted up. They looking at, all right, that's cool. When do we get to the part where we, we killing somebody? Like, when do people die? I want to know when people start dying. You're supposed to be the king, right? Okay, when do you take the throne and tell these Romans to move? I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. Until we get the detail. Like, that's what I learned from. I learned from being able to say, oh, I get why you made that mistake. Okay, let me understand where you went wrong. Oh, details. Now I never read the Bible the same again. I'm never looking at the Bible looking for my desire. You know how these people, they look in the Bible, it's like, let me just turn to a random page and see if a word speak to me.
What's your word on anger?
Yeah, they call you, I'm just dealing with something right now. Just, how do you deal? You know what I'm saying? Can you tell me something in the word that look for depression? You can't read the Bible like that because you looking for what you want. Sure, it may make you feel good. It may even help you and all that. You can't do that. That's what we did. When we look at the Bible, we have to look to learn from it. What is it telling me? Not from what do I want it or what topic do I want to. It don't have topics.
What can I get out?
Ain't no topic in the Bible. Whole book is talking about Yahushua. Ain't no topics. It's a whole thing. Everything connect. Get the whole thing. I ain't about to come here talking about, let's talk about love. We did that before. Let's talk about love today. Let's talk about baptism. We did that stuff before. We did that thing for a couple of weeks. No, I ain't got time for this stuff. Let's learn this book. We'll get to baptism and in the book. It come from the book. We'll get to it. Let's learn the book. Whole book you gotta take the whole. How you gonna take half of it? Man ain't got time for this. Man ain't playing with us. You know, he's here. Keep on playing just because the man ain't striking people down, sending lightning bolts and kill people. So we take the man lightly. You know what I'm saying? The man, when he looked at that, he said, man, do you despise my grace? The fact that I keep giving you chances, do you hate it?
He said,
I'm trying to give you chances. Do you hate the fact that I'm trying to give you chances? Because that must be what it is if you keep disobeying me. I keep telling you what's happening. Grab
a great king.
What?
He said, I'm a great king.
Man, good to us.
Do you not fear me?
Even man, oh goodness. Even in his punishment, right? Even in his punishment, the man made us slaves, the worst slaves you could have, right? We had never been a slavery like the ones we went through. That was our punishment, right? But even in that, what happened? We became slaves what year? Here in America, at least. 1619. 1619. If you look at the King James Bible, it was authorized by King James at what point? 1611, right? So 1619, we get brought here slaves. You already got these Gentiles that's colonizing the place for a couple years. And guess what they bringing over here with them? Probably the best translated into English Bible that you can find, right? Then they took us from our language because remember, in Africa, we didn't have any written copies of our book. It was all oral, right? All our stuff got destroyed and taken away. We just on the run. So we have been passing our stuff down for hundreds of years orally. That's why a lot of the Africans that's still out there that are our people, they don't know, right? Remember we talked about that slave, Oda Lopo or whatever his name was. He was a slave, and he said when they took me over to America, he is like, man, they Levites that they talk about in their Bible, that was just like my people. Oh, and we circumcised just like them. So he's looking like, that's weird that these Gentiles got this. They got a book talking about the same traditions, same stories as us. Right? You read articles, and CNN got an article about how the Igbo people, they have a tradition of a man who split the sea. But they can't tell you who Moses is. You tell them Moses, I'm like, man, I don't know nothing about Moses. Because they orally pass this stuff down, stuff getting, mixed up. They know the story. They might think that the man who split the sea was like, 50 years ago. In their mind, right? Because the story got passed down. And it got changed a little bit and all this stuff. We not nothing written. So when we go here, guess what? All of our stuff is written, translated, the most accurate translating from our original writings, which we didn't have. And now it's taught to us in a messed up way from the Gentiles. But God, in our punishment, gave us access to our own word. He took care of us in that regard. He put us in this country, and sure, yeah, they did a lot to us and a whole lot of stuff. But at the same time, in this country, make us the jewel of this country. Whole culture run off us.
We built it.
We built the whole country. Everything run off us. These people scared to let us go. It was a plan. Proposed to Abraham Lincoln, just get rid of their butt. They wouldn't have it. They're like, that don't make no sense. Like, I get where you're going with it. That don't make no sense. Economy is booming right now. So they can't live with us, can't live without us. In our punishment, the Most High God take care of it.
We built Egypt. Everything these people fascinate over throughout history, we built it.
Your boy. You know what I'm saying? Your boy. All right, let's grab this Isaiah. Let's get out of here. It's Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1. Let's just read a little bit. Because who just died?
Uzziah.
All right, so this is Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1.
In the year that Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting upon the throne,
Okay.
high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple.
So in the year that Uzziah died, I saw the Lord. He is sitting on the throne, high and lifted up. And this train, what's a train?
It's like a robe, right?
Huh?
Like a robe.
Like a robe, right? It's a robe. You know how the women be having them long dresses, like what's the name women? What's the name women? The fairy tale. Oh, yeah, the fairy tale women. You know what I'm saying? They be having them long thing, and the women got to hold it up behind them and carry it.
Victorian era or something.
That's
like
a train. You know what I'm saying? That's a train. So the same thing the Most High God, he had, like, you know what I'm saying, some type of piece of clothing, and that thing just went on. You know what I'm saying? Just a train. His train was what?
Filled the temple.
Mm-hmm. That thing was all over the place, right? Keep going.
Above it stood the seraphims.
What's a darn seraphim? Watch this.
Each one had 6 wings.
Yeah, how many wings?
6 wings.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 he covered his face.
Okay.
With 2 he covered his face.
Okay.
And with 2 he covered his feet.
Covered his feet.
And with 2 he flew. He did fly.
So his thing was like this, but he was also flying at the same time. Okay, let's talk about these seraphim.
And one cried to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts.
Uh-huh.
The whole earth is full of his glory.
Mm-hmm.
And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried.
Mm-hmm.
And the house was filled with smoke.
Uh-huh.
Then said I, Woe is me,
Uh-huh.
for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I
Right.
dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips.
When you
for
stand-
my eyes have seen the King.
When you stand before the Most High God like that, you feel it. You know what I'm saying? He's not really standing in front of the Most High God. He's in a vision, right? He can't, in real life, he can't really stand before the Most High God. But he had a,
He'd be dead.
Yeah, he'd be dead. But he had a vision that he was standing in front of the Most High God. And even in that, the Most High God let him feel what it would feel like, right? So he's sitting there like, oh my goodness. I ain't worthy to even be here. That's the same feeling that would have killed him if it was really happening. Right? He's like, man, I ain't even worthy to be here. So watch how they had to resolve it for him.
He felt dead, like he was dying.
Watch it.
Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar.
Where you put it?
And he laid it upon my mouth and said, Look, this has touched your lips, and your iniquity is taken away, and your sin purged.
Right? So he made him without sin at that point. Guess what he can do now?
He can stand up.
Now he can stand in front of the Most High God. He ain't got no sin in him.
Now we have dialogue.
Yeah. Let's talk. Right? So in his vision, he said, okay, let me clean you up of sin. Now you can feel better about standing in front of me. Okay, let's go.
Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send?
Who am I going to send? Most High God asked a question. Right? He gave him a vision of something that's going on in heaven. Right? Most High God asked a question. When have we seen that before? Who remember when we seen that before? No, when he said, whom shall I send? What have we seen that before?
In Kings.
King. What happened? Who was it? Was it Ahab?
Ahab was trying to go to war.
Ahab was trying to go to war. And then Most High God said he's going to send what?
The lying spirit.
He said, who shall he ask him? Who is going to make Ahab to believe that he can go up there and take this nation? And everybody started answering him. And then one lying spirit answered and say, let me do it. And the Most High God let the lying spirit go lie to him so he can go up there and set him up again. Right? So we look at it, he's asking the same question. Now he's saying, whom shall I send? What did Isaiah say?
And who will go for us?
Uh-huh.
Then I said, Here am I, send me.
So Isaiah was like, here, you know what I'm saying? I'll go. You know what I'm saying? I'm with it. Let me go. Watch this.
And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not. And see ye indeed, but perceive not.
He said, you're going to hear. Right? He said, tell the people. This is what you're going to tell the people. Y'all going to hear, but y'all not going to understand. And you what?
Hear ye indeed, but understand not. And see ye indeed, but perceive not.
He said, and you're going to see, but you're not going to perceive what you're seeing. Right? What else?
And hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed.
No, you skipped
sorry. Make the heart of this people fat. And
he said, make the heart of these people fat. Y'all have to understand, the whole thing is a what? A setup, a trap, right? Mm-hmm. He's telling him, tell the people, some stuff about to be said, some real stuff about to be said to y'all. Y'all ain't gonna understand it. You're going to see some real miracles. Y'all not going to perceive them. Right? He said, make the heart of these people fat. In other words, you know what I'm saying? When the heart is fat, it's like it's too full to even pay attention to what's going on. It's too occupied, right? It's unhealthy, right? So make the heart of the people fat, and what else?
And make their ears heavy.
And their ears heavy. So in other words, I'm not paying attention. My heart is fat, so I'm not really, nothing is like getting deep into me.
Can't learn anything.
Yeah, I'm not really like nothing really getting deep into me. And then my ears are heavy, so I'm really not listening to nothing nobody talking about either. Right? So he said, make their heart fat and their ears heavy.
And shut their eyes.
And then shut their eyes, make them blind. Because if that didn't happen, what would happen, Lord? If the Lord didn't make our heart fat, and he didn't make our ears heavy, and he didn't shut our eyes, we would mess around and be what?
Lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and convert and be healed.
We would be healed. God is saying, if I didn't do this, right? If I don't make your heart heavy, the good thing might happen. This is a setup. He's purposely making it difficult. Right? Intentionally saying, all right, we're going to get out of here, I promise. Real quick. This is Matthew chapter 13. After that, give me Mark chapter 4. Last two, and then we're getting right up out of here. Watch this. It's Matthew chapter 13. Give me verse 1. And then maybe verse 1 and verse 2, and then we're going to jump to verse 10. Real quick. Matthew chapter 13, and after that, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and put your finger in Mark chapter 4. It's Matthew chapter 13, verse 1. Watch this.
The same day went Yahushua out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together to him.
Great multitudes gathered together to him. What does that mean?
Into a ship. A lot of people.
A lot of people were following him. Right? Okay. Jump down to verse 10. He spoke to a parable. What we just skipped, that was a parable, right? So he gave him a parable. Then verse 10, watch what verse 10 says.
And the disciples came and said unto him, why?
All right, so a lot of people, right? Multitudes following him. Then disciples, right? Let's keep track of our groups. We got a lot of people and we got disciples. Matter of fact, put it on the board, right? We got disciples and we got multitudes. A lot of people, right? This is Yahushua right here, right? That's Yahushua. All right? So these are following him and these are following him. All right? Let's hear about it.
And the disciples came and said unto him, why do you speak to them in parables?
All right, so the disciples came to him and they said, why do you speak to them in parables? And what does Yahushua say?
And he answered and said unto them, because it is given to you to know the mysteries of
because it's given to you, the disciples, to know what?
The mysteries of the kingdom of heaven.
The mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. So now we have the mysteries belong to the disciples. Right? But what about the multitude, Lord?
But to them it is not given.
So mysteries does not go to multitudes. Right? Yahushua, I'm not making this up. Yahushua made this separation, didn't he? He said, to you is given the mysteries. To them, it's not. Let's keep going. Watch this. They ain't gonna never tell you this stuff in church. They ain't gonna sit there and let you just sit there and rot.
For whosoever has, to him shall be given.
He said, whoever has, to him is gonna be given.
And shall have more abundantly.
So if you have the mysteries, it's gonna be given even more abundantly. But what else?
But to whoever has not, from him shall be taken away even that he has.
Whatever you even got, I'm taking it away from you. That ends up in this for them. Who gonna tell us this? Who gonna tell us how to get from here to here? Keep going, watch this.
Therefore I speak to them in parables, because they seeing see not.
Ain't this what we just read? He said they see and they what?
See not.
Isaiah asked, Most High God asked the question, who shall I send? Isaiah answered up, he was like, man, I can go. You think the Most High God was asking and really thought Isaiah was the one? Whole time when we read this book, who is it about? Always comes down to the man. Always comes down to it. And no matter what we read, it always comes back to Yahushua, Jesus, right? Always. So when you look at it, he's like, oh yeah, send me. Isaiah thought, oh, I'm about to go talk to the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah. Isaiah went out and he did his job. At the end of the day, Most High God said, I just need you to say that, so now my son can really say it to the people. This is what he was talking about. He said, they see and see not.
And hearing they hear not.
And hearing they hear not.
Neither do they understand.
And they don't understand.
And fulfilled in them is the prophecy of Isaiah, which said, by hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand. And seeing you shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them.
And he said, who should heal them?
I should heal them.
Yahushua has the power to heal them. Right? Yahushua has the power to save each and every one of them. He purposely spoke to them in parables so that they would not understand the word. When the disciples came to him and asked him, he said, oh, it's given to you. Grab for me Mark chapter 4, give me verse 33. Mark chapter 4, verse 33.
This way you can start to ask yourself, okay, now which one am I? Where do I fall at in this scenario here? Mark
chapter 4, verse 33. These people don't never tell you about being a disciple. You know what they're going to tell you how to be? A Christian.
Yeah, you bring up saying like, because people will be like, you read about it, yeah, they be like, you're a Christian, I'm like, no, and they look at you like,
Oh yeah, not that.
and you tell them this,
Bible
like,
and you're not a Christian.
why is it so hard to just say you're a disciple?
Oh no, that thing. The man told you in Revelations. Listen, Yahushua is here. The devil is getting kicked out of heaven. He about to go down, and he about to get real busy. The Bible already warned us. Like when Yahushua went out, the devil lives here. This is his world now. So after that, the deception, like the man is the king of it. Like he knows how to deceive. So he just plants seeds from a long time ago and make sure that our minds ain't even prepared to even think about these lies. So they put it up. It's like, okay, let me call you Christian. If I tell you disciple, you're looking at the Bible calling you a disciple. Like you're looking at it. Like it's literally time after time calling you. It's never called you a Christian. However, when you look at the Bible, guess what? I see Christian. That's the programming that's happened not just in our time. For hundreds of years, people have been programmed to think this way. And it's just by the grace of the Most High God that he allow us to even see some of this stuff. Right? And I'm sure there's a lot more that he hasn't revealed to us yet. But he allow us to see enough of this stuff just to find our way back here. All right? Here's Mark chapter 4, verse 33.
And with many such parables spake he the word unto them.
Right? Many such parables spake he the word unto them.
As they were able to hear it.
Uh-huh.
But without a parable spake he not unto them. And when
He
they
said
were alone,
he wouldn't speak to them without a parable. If he didn't have a parable, guess what he wasn't doing?
speaking.
I ain't got nothing to say to you unless I ain't got nothing for y'all today. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't think of nothing good today. I'll come back.
Red, apples are blue.
Yeah, that boy came back with a verse for him. Like, oh, I hit you, look, check it out. I said, yo, you know what I'm talking about? But I'm never gonna have a regular conversation with y'all. I'm never breaking it down with y'all. It don't make sense. Y'all are them. Y'all the multitude.
You know those like hard riddles people do on like Facebook, them challenges, you know what I'm saying? Like the ones that's like, man, I never would have guessed that. Like when you find the answer, you know what I'm saying? Like what has two legs and such, but it's not this. You know what I'm saying? Like you like, yeah, and then when they give you the answer, like you take even the little popsicle things be hard to get.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? Then you flip the popsicle like, oh, duh. Like,
it was a frog.
That's how he was talking to the people. Like that's exactly how he was talking to them.
Right?
Like, all day.
On purpose. But life is, if you figured it out, life is in there. But he knew they wasn't going to figure it out. It's designed for something. Right? It's designed for something. He poses it to you that way for a specific reason. Who going to come in by me? Who going to come in and be like, yo, look, I didn't get that. Right? And after everybody go away, right? After the multitude, because the multitude follow them around. But did they always follow them? No, they get hungry. They do what they want to do and they go home. Right? Disciples was always with him, right? So after the multitude go away, Who of that multitude gonna stick around and be like, listen, now that everybody gone, I just need help understanding it. I just want to follow you. I'll just be around. Once you start doing that, once you start obeying what the man says, this is what I want you to do, then he'll explain it all to you. Watch this, next verse.
But without a parable spake he not unto them, and when they were alone, he expounded all things to his disciples.
When they were alone, when all these darn multitudes went away, all right, they gone now. Let me tell you what I meant when I was saying that. We skipped it over, but that is all of chapter 13. That's exactly what that is, right? If we kept reading, he started explaining those parables to his disciples. And then he wrote, then his disciples wrote it in the book for us so that we can understand. Yeah. They didn't explain every single parable that was out there.
We lucky.
Some of them they explained. But from that, you're able to apply that to other parables and say, oh.
Living in that time, how in the world was you going to get this? We got it like packaged up and written for us.
It's different, and people still don't get it. Right? The answer is right here, open book test, and people still don't get it. Imagine walking around with the man and all this confusion that he purposely putting out there. Right? Imagine it. We gotta be here. We gotta be here. Only way you can be there, first thing you gotta do is obey. Second thing you gotta do is learn, right? Study. Get it, right? That don't always mean I don't teach. It's good to read the Bible. It really is. You know what I'm saying? Because it gives you an opportunity to see it for yourself. But I don't teach that you know what I'm saying? I believe that you can never pick up a Bible a day in your life and you still get into the kingdom. Right? What I don't believe is that you can do that without knowing the Bible. So how do you know the Bible without picking it up? You got to have somebody that'll teach it to you. Right? So it's two ways to get it. You be taught by God, well, three ways really. Taught by God, taught by the people who wrote the book, in other words, by reading the book, or taught by somebody who read the book and is taught or taught by God. Right? God can give you a revelation and you can get it. We've seen it before in the book. Right? You can just, you know what I'm saying, God just give it to you. You know what I'm saying? For sure. You know what I'm saying? You can pick up the book, you can read it, and you can be like, okay, for sure, I got it. Right? Or, you know what I'm saying, you can learn from somebody who already has it. The trouble is, and the reason why a lot of people won't tell you to learn from somebody is because everybody lying. And if they're not lying, they don't know what they're talking about. Right? So you go to the book, get it for yourself because it's the record, and you understand it. But it's people who can't read, people who don't like to read, people who can't stay committed, people who just don't understand, all these different things. Don't give yourself any way to hang up. Right? It's a trap. Whole thing is just come into it with that mindset. Whole thing is set up as a trap. All this stuff is set up as a trap. It's the normal route is for me to go to hell. What can I do to avoid that? Right? I know it's a hurdle. I know it's going to be tough. I know it's going to be strict. I know it's going to be a closed-in wall. I know all that. Let's get past it, though. Man already prepared us for that. He already told us. He opened up the book telling us, oh, yeah, it's going to be a trap. Right? It's going to be a puzzle. You're going to have to figure it out. Right? That's all right, though. That's how I want it. Once you know, see, the part that's discouraging is when you look at it and be like, man, I just don't get this Bible. Like, what is God trying to say to me? That's the part that's discouraging. But when you know, like, oh, that's what he wants to happen. When you can reassure yourself, oh, this is going, like, I feel like I don't get it. But that's exactly according to the plan. Like, I'm supposed to feel like that way at first. I'm supposed to start here, not understanding the parables. We all got to start here. How do I get here? Because then the mysteries are mine. And then once I had the mysteries, he give even more to me because he who has, even more be given it to him. But he who does not have, even what you have going to be taken away. In other words, you going to hell. Right? It's important for us. Any questions? All right, let's pray out.